What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to the True Mets Talk podcast. It's your boy CP. It's another day and another player spotlight video on this channel. This time we're talking about Mr. OMG himself, Jose Iglesias, and talking about just how Jose Iglesias came into this organization, where was he at before, and how he has made an immediate and a huge contribution to this 2024 New York Mets squad. Let's get into it. All right, so before we dive fully into the numbers and the story of Jose Iglesias, please do not forget, if you're watching this, smash those thumbs up buttons on this video. Check out the playlist of the True Mets Talk player spotlights to check out all the previous spotlights that were done, and turn on notifications because I will be doing more of these types of videos of these player spotlights on the channel. Not going to give any spoilers, but a pitcher probably is next on deck for the next player spotlight video. Comment your thoughts and opinions as well in the comment section regarding Jose Iglesias and the type of season that you all think he's having for the New York Mets. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts and opinions are. But before we get into the actual numbers of it, it's important to remember and understand where Jose Iglesias practically came from over the last couple of years. For those of you all who don't know, he is a journeyman middle infielder. Obviously, he can play second base and shortstop alike. He was on and in that Cleveland organization alongside Lindor many years back. But Jose Iglesias actually has not played in a Major League Baseball game prior to 2024 since 2022, where he hit 292 for the Colorado Rockies. In 2023, he did not get any Major League Baseball roster spot on any team. And I'm sure a lot of teams around this league are kicking themselves, especially the San Diego Padres, who Jose Iglesias was last with, appearing in 28 AAA games last season in 2023 for. But David Stearns comes in. Obviously, we've talked about his offseason and type of offseason the Mets had. Names, bringing in names that aren't going to knock your socks off, but they're solid vets, solid players that can help and contribute to winning baseball games. And he decided to take a flyer on Jose Iglesias. He didn't give him a major league deal. On December 5th of 2023, David Stearns signed Jose Iglesias to a minor league baseball deal with a spring training invite. Months later, you fast forward, spring training rolls around, and there Jose Iglesias is playing middle infield for the New York Mets. Couple of web gems on the defensive side, which is never the worry about his game. He is absolutely sure-handed as anyone up the middle is, and it's awesome to have watched this middle infield duo again in Lindor and Iglesias, especially with their defensive capabilities. But you see here in spring training, he had some pretty solid numbers. They weren't going to knock your socks off, but definitely plausible and made you feel good as a Mets fan that this type of player was in your organization as depth. In 15 games in spring training this past season in 2024, he hit 282, 317 on base percentage, and a slug of 436. And unfortunately, he didn't make the team because he was only guaranteed a minor league deal with the spring training invite. And those of you all who want to go way back to the opening roster know, especially what this offseason entailed in the Joey Wendell signing, he actually had Jose Iglesias' roster spot coming out of spring training. So right back down to AAA is where Jose Iglesias went with AAA Syracuse, 42 games played over there, 273 batting average, and OBP still north of 300, and the slug was up to about 442. Again, numbers that aren't going to wow you, but that make you feel good, especially if you're not getting production from a guy like Joey Wendell, whose time with the New York Mets was very, very slim. And also a guy like Brett Beatty, who the Mets actually sent back down to AAA on May 31st to bring up some middle infield depth, where Jose Iglesias got his first opportunity. At that time, on May 31st, the Mets were coming off of losing 8 of their last 10 games, and that was the whole time period of the debacle of a situation that was Jorge Lopez throwing his glove in the stands and then promptly getting DFA'd shortly after that. But Jose Iglesias, as you all know, since then, since his very first game on May 31st, has not looked back, and he has seized the opportunity with the Mets. You see the numbers here: 42 games, Actually, he's appeared in more games than 42 games. Apologies for that. But a 336 batting average across, his tenure as a New York Met at the MLB level, 379 on base percentage, and an 835, you see there in green, OPS for the New York Mets in 2024. Just absolutely outstanding production from a guy, again, that was a journeyman and wasn't even given a guaranteed major league contract by the New York Mets in the 2023-2024 offseason. It is certainly OMG time in New York City right now. But let's dive into it a little further with his actual runners in scoring position numbers and his overall clutch value numbers, because this is where Jose Iglesias absolutely has excelled for the New York Mets, right? We talk about stretches of this offense where they can't buy a hit or they can't buy bringing in a run with a sac fly or a ground ball to the other side to bring in a runner scoring position with less than 1 out or less than 2 outs. And Jose Iglesias has been the outlier this entire season and has been the go-to in terms of which hitter you want up for this Mets organization with runners in scoring position. Here are the runners in scoring position numbers, right? 58 plate appearances with runners in scoring position for Iglesias. He's hitting 377 with the north of 400 on base percentage in those situations. And you see here in those situations, just under 1,000 OPS. That is big time production in big spots from Jose Iglesias. You step it up even further into a little bit more of a clutch category statistic. Runners in scoring position with 2 outs in 28 plate appearances. In these situations, Jose Iglesias is batting 440 this season with a 500 on base percentage and north of a 1,000 OPS. That honestly, I know that I'm pre-recording this video and I've already done my research on these numbers. Still, as I'm talking about this, makes my jaw absolutely drop and how good he is in those high leverage pressure situations with 2 outs where the Mets desperately need to bring a runner in. But you also see here late and close in this category in baseball are situations where your team is either in a tie ball game or down 1 run in the 7th inning or later, and you have situations where you're able to either take the lead or you have the tying runner in scoring position. And in these situations, again, Jose Iglesias has been the best New York Met in this situation by far, with a 433 batting average, on base percentage again above 500, and the OPS nearing 1,000. This is tremendous, jaw dropping, shocking, whatever word you want to use to describe this type of production in big situations. That's what Jose Iglesias has been. But obviously, we've seen him in a platoon type role, especially before the Jeff McNeil injury. Obviously, the Mets right now going into this Milwaukee series, as I'm recording this on September 26th, the night of, need production and have needed production and somebody to step up in lieu of the playoff race that is commencing with 5 games left. And it really hurt the New York Mets when they're starting second baseman, and even you can label him as a utility guy. Jeff McNeil went down. Obviously, Jose Iglesias was going to be the immediate candidate to fill in that spot in the month of September, and he has not backed down from that sort of pressure and the pressure that comes with replacing Jeff McNeil's production. 16 games played since Jose Iglesias has replaced Jeff McNeil, and since the Jeff McNeil injury. I actually apologize because I don't think these numbers take into consideration game 1 in Atlanta, where Jose Iglesias went 1 for 4. But in any case, the numbers don't drastically change whatsoever. In 16 games since the Jeff McNeil injury, Jose Iglesias is batting over 400, on base percentage well over 400, slugging percentage over 500, and an OPS that is near 950. This is a type of ball player that you want in an everyday lineup, in high leverage situations, and really when the game is on the line, you want, and the Mets want, and I want, and everybody wants Jose Iglesias to step up for this team. And he absolutely has. Again, we talk about a player, Mark Vientos, that has really been a catalyst for this team, especially when they were struggling. We talk about Lindor, right? And him taking off. We talk about all these players, but Iglesias, with these numbers that I showed you in this video, you have to give him the most props, I think, of anybody, or at least alongside Francisco Lindor, with the way he stepped up since he's been called up on May 31st of this year. So, again, the New York Mets are heading to Milwaukee. Series starts today. I'm going to be dropping this episode on the channel on Friday, sometime in the afternoon. I hope you all enjoy it. 5 games left. Jose Iglesias has been an absolute monster. I think that we all consider him as a re-sign candidate on a short-term deal, given his age and especially how he's proven himself this season. He would be a viable infield option alongside some of the younger guys, maybe obviously Vientos, Acuna, Mauricio when he gets back, and obviously Francisco Lindor. I think that the Mets definitely have room for Jose Iglesias and should make a bid at re-signing him because these numbers, they're just simply elite. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the True Mets Talk Player Spotlight. Please hit that thumbs up on this video again. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more player spotlights just like this one, where we dive into the numbers and take a deep dive into the numbers in certain situations, the splits over the months, versus lefties versus righties, etc. And I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.
Thank you for watching the True Mets Talk podcast. Make sure you're tapping on that notifications button and checking out all the latest content on the channel. Thank you.